everyone. Welcome to today's webinar AI Prompt Tips and Techniques for Technical Writers. This is Sheba and I'll be your co host for tonight. Now I'm delighted to introduce our speaker, Neha Malhotra, an independent consultant at Elevate Blend. Neha Malhotra is a senior consultant specializing in technical writing and content strategy. She transforms complex product information into clear, user friendly documentation and collaborates with product engineering and design teams to enhance user experience. She is a published author. She also guides writes in using AI responsibly to improve clarity, efficiency, and documentation quality. In this session, she'll cover why mastering AI is important for technical writers, when it should be used in the documentation process, and how to apply it effectively using simple practical prompts. If you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box and we'll make sure to address them towards the end of the session. With that, I'll hand it over to Neha. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Shiva. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. I'm really glad to be a part of this uh, Document 360 and giving this knowledge sharing session. As we all know that today AI has became the most talked about topic, and everybody is introducing AI into their work, day-to-day work and everything. So I was very curious to know, to learn and understand about AI, as everybody asks writers that is AI will really take your job. So that question made me curious to learn and understand about AI. And this is because of this today I am leading an AI communication team where we, in use AI prompts in creating the all kind of technical documentations, content strategy, and workflows. So let's start with this session. Before we go into deep of this session, I'll give you a quick overview to understand what all we are going to cover in this session. So in this session, we will cover how technical writers are using AI in documentation work today, why AI output varies even when using the same tool. Generally, it happens that everybody is using the ChatGPT or Gemini and putting the same prompt but getting the different results. Then how documentation workflows change with AI support. And last and the most important, practical prompt techniques with examples for guiding AI output. And we'll do some little exercise also on this. So before let's start with the most important part, that how technical documentation workflow has changed after adding the AI in our day-to-day work process. Before AI, we used to start creating everything from manual, creating the, researching on our own, creating the drafts, then, finalizing, revising it, multiple revisions, everything was done manually. And after AI, we get the chance to create the outline with the AI tool, and it saves a lot of time. But it never gives the exact result. You multiple times try AI prompts, to get the desired result. Drafts used to written, from scratch manually. And today we are refining, restructuring draft with AI tool. We are improving readability and clarity with AI. And, it's also saving time of subject matter experts to some extent, not in terms of context and technical terminologies, but yeah, in terms of, readability, refinement, and performance of the content. So this is what has changed after introducing AI in our workflow. So how today AI fits in documentation work today? Like we already discussed that first before we used to do everything manually. And today we are introducing AI, to generate outlining, to rewriting the content, to reviewing the content. It's saving our time in repetitive tasks, and it helps. But what is a major challenge comes with AI? It doesn't understand the product context. It is a tool that programmed with few data and instructions. So it doesn't understand the domain, the industry, the context, the user intent, the document intent. For example, if we give a prompt to AI, improve this installation guide. With this limited prompt, AI simplify the terminology and remove the key configuration details, or it will rephrase the content part, but it may lose the context, which is 100 times happened in the process when we give the limited wordings in the prompt. So to make sure कि why prompting matters in documentation. When you give the detailed content to the AI, it understands the context, the intent, the task, the output. It gives you better results. Otherwise, if two writers are using the same AI tool and getting different results every time, this is because the one might be using a detailed prompt and other one might be using the only the one phrase or line to please rewrite this or please rephrase this. So this is where the results vary in terms of context, output, and everything. This is why prompting becomes part of the documentation flow today. And it is very important to understand the importance of detailed prompt and how to ensure that what prompts we are getting are useful for us. And you know what I have experienced that today we say that ChatGPT or any AI tool helps us reduce our time. But most time what happens when we are not good at prompting, it instead of reducing our repetitive task, it increases our time limit and we are struggling to get the desired results and we feel like it was better if we wrote it out on our own rather than depending on the AI tool. So it is very important to understand the how to write prompt, when to use prompt and what kind of prompts we require. So what are the prompt techniques? In writing, there are two major techniques of prompt writing. Number one, structure prompting, and number two, few shot prompting. So let's explore what these prompt techniques are. Structure prompting is instruction based, and few shot prompting is example based. So what happened that the promptings are covered under the four major elements that we will cover in next slide. Let me show you. So the four elements are role, task, context, output. Where role defines who should AI act as. In when we are giving a prompt to AI, we have to tell him that imagine yourself as a technical writer working for this industry, and these are your major role you are playing in this company, in this organization, in this team, and what kind of document expected from you. Then task, what exactly should AI do? Is its role is it he has to rewrite the content or rephrase the content or recheck the content or create a content from the scratch or create the outline. Then comes context. It defines what background or audience matters. Are you writing for B2B, B2C? Your audience are developers, your audience are designers or end users. Then output. What format or style is expected? Are we looking for the confident tone? Are we looking for the professional tone? What kind of tone we are expecting? What kind of style we are expecting? You know. So these four elements are important in the structure-based prompting and few shot prompting. But in few shot prompting, the one additional element comes that is example. In few shot prompting, we give additional example that I will define in detail. So in structure prompting, we are basically allowing the user to, we are adding the prompt to the AI that you have, these are the instructions that you need to follow, and AI gets those instructions and create a content accordingly. And it is good for clarity. But when it comes to few shot prompting, we follow all these four instruction-based elements and additional example. In this, we give it example that, this kind of tone I am looking for. For example, if you are creating a guide on how to install a software in system. So when you are giving role, task, context, output, here you will give example that similar kind of guide I have already created. So here is the example, this kind of tone, writing structure or detailed I required in the documentation. So in few shot prompting, this additional examples comes in. So when we are creating the content for the first time, it is important to understand whether we need structure prompting or short prompting. I usually personally use short prompting when I am, working on the revising part, reviewing the content and, rephrasing the or rewriting the content. Because in most cases, when you are working on authoring tools, you are working on one chapter and the other person working on another chapter. Their consistency matters a lot. So to ensure the consistency, we use the same kind of example in our content and ask ChatGPT to this is the example we are following for this guide, and I'm working on this chapter, and you have to follow this style and tone with following this example. So it helps all the writers who are working on the same guide but different chapters using ensuring the consistency in the document. So this is the basic difference between the structure prompting and short prompting. So here is one example. In the line one, you can see I colored blue. It is a role. Like I told you, you are a technical, imagine you are a technical writer working on a cloud security platform user guide. In green, I have underlined the task. Rewrite the following feature descriptions for a new access policy module. Keep technical steps accurate and do not remove important details. In third, I highlighted it orange context, which means purpose, target users, help first-time administrators understand configuration steps clearly. In target users, we mentioned about the target audience, IT administrators with basic cloud knowledge, maintain technical accuracy, and avoid oversimplifying configuration details. And last, in dark blue, we have covered output format, the concise, structured paragraph suitable for a user guide. You can add more detail to here. It was just for an example that what role, task, context, and output means here. So according to your, detailed orientation, you can use that following these four elements. So now the other technique is few shot prompting. Here I have used the same example, but I have used the example bit in between. Like I told you, in few shot prompting, we have additional element, which is example. So after adding role and task and before context, I have you added this example. Use the following rewrite example as a reference for tone, clarity, and level of simplification. Configure role-based access policies through the policy management and interface to control user permission. Set up user access roles from the policy screen to control action. Enable token-based authentication to strengthen account security during login. So here the example is showing that what kind of tone and clarity or what kind of structure we required. While following this, you can try both kind of prompting for the one same guide, and you will find the difference that with short prompting what kind of output you are getting, and with structure prompting what kind of result you are getting. So it depends from person to person how you use. I have many people ask me, the major question is when we should use few short prompting and when we use structure prompting. So it depends on you that majorly when it comes to consistency, there are cases when clients ask for the type. They are very particular about consistency. They want every word, every line, every phrase in similar way for all the guides. There we definitely try to use few short prompting because with example it becomes easier to structure the tone, style, and following the style guide, everything. And structure prompting is by default a prompting style that we use for every guide and every technical writing documentation. So it depends on your requirement. It depends what kind of content you are creating currently, and then you can decide what kind of which prompt technique works for you. So further, here's the example two. In example two, I have taken the reviewing documentation. In example one, we were discussing the rewriting documentation. In reviewing, what happens that we are not making, a detailed content in writing. We are just reviewing. We have to ask ChatGPT or any AI tool, to revise the content. So here the task would be simple, review the section and identity, grammar issue, awkward phrasing, readability, sentence structure, everything. But yes, most times we have to strictly follow the style guide. When it comes to short prompting, you can use the example as a style guide also. That this is a style guide and we have to follow this style guide. I usually in reviewing documentation use structure prompting. The reason is because style guide is always we have in our hand, so we can validate from it. But most time people believe that if in case we miss anything from the style guide, so they to ensure we don't miss anything, they use it as an example in shop prompting, and they use while reviewing the documentation. So it's your wish, you can try it. And otherwise, the major what four elements that need to cover are role, task, context, and output. So I would like you guys to go through once again role, task, context, output, and note it down because now we will do a one short exercise on it. So let me give you a overview again. Role is what should AI act as? Task, what exactly should AI do? Context, what background or audience matters? Output, what format or style is expected? So here is the exercise one. In this exercise, you have to find where the which pointer is the role. So yeah, the answer is four actually. You are a technical writer working on a classification platform. Because what AI has to imagine, what his role is actually. He is a technical writer, subject matter expert, is someone developer who is writing. So the imagination in a role is what AI has to think that what he is. Okay, let's do in exercise two. Let's find out the task. The task is review the following troubleshooting steps. I'm really glad that everybody has understood the concept of these four elements. It will really help you all in, structuring your prompt. And if you are taking five or seven prompts today, it with these elements you will be able to, create a prompt in one or second attempt, and it will save your time a lot. And this is a truly, helpful when we are using the AI prompt. So the what we have covered so far is how AI could help us in creating, drafting, and everything in a content part. But like in the start, I said that most people say that AI will take your job or something like this. AI is we cannot 100% rely on AI. There are areas that where AI is very helpful, but there are areas that human intervention is very important when it comes to accuracy, technical correctness, SME validation, final approval. So when you are creating the outline or rewriting the content or improving its readability, the context of the content, the context of the industry, software that AI won't understand, like I mentioned earlier, it is a tool that is programmed with instructions and steps and data. It doesn't understand how a cloud software works for particular industry or how a machine works for particular industry, how cybersecurity software works. It only knows what the Google search engines have the information with it. So accuracy required understanding of the software industry you are working with. Every time when we join any organization or when we are working for some industry, it is very important to have understanding. Never depend on subject matter expert. Personally, when I started my career, I always try to learn on my own. I sit with engineers, product teams to understand what product we are working on, why we are writing about it. Uh, I imagine myself as a subject matter expert, which is very important. So human intervention is very required when it comes to accuracy, technical correctness. Most time we have to be constrained when we are giving the AI a prompt that, please do not touch technical details here. You have to do, this is your job that you have to do, and this is our job. So don't touch the technical details here. Don't rephrase it. Where we need a accuracy and subject matter expertise. So these are the area where human interference is important. So if you ever heard someone saying that we can 100% rely on AI, we cannot. We can rely on AI for these outlining, rewriting, readability, and structure part, but for accuracy, correctness, and surety about the if the context is correct and accurate, we have to understand the technology product we are working on. So these are the key takeaways that we are taking from this session. That AI support documentation work, but does not replace judgment. It means like what we discussed right now. Advanced prompting defines role, audience, scope, and responsibility that covers under the four elements. And prompting is a control mechanism that control the areas where we, need a limited kind of defining the capabilities that this is what we required. And but it is not a writing shortcut. We cannot 200% rely on it for everything. And yes, like I said, technical writers remain responsible for quality and accuracy. So, after this key takeaway, I would like to give you guys one more advice. Today, everybody is talking about AI, and it is very helpful in getting the, new job roles, new promotions, and everything. So, When you start using these four elements in your everyday task and you start understanding its concept, it is advisable for you every all to position yourself on LinkedIn using such use cases, case studies, what you experience using these four elements, and create content on LinkedIn. It will help you position yourself in AI communication, leadership role, writing role. So this is all from my end.
Thank you, Neha. The session was quite insightful, and I'm sure the audience will agree with me. I think that's a wrap for today's session. Thanks a lot to you for walking us through the topic. I hope the insights shared today gave everyone a clearer understanding of why mastering AI is important for technical writers, when it should be used in the documentation process, and how to apply it effectively using simple practical prompts. To everyone who tuned in, thank you all for taking your time to be here and for all your great questions and comments. And of course, if you have more questions or want to learn more about Document 360, then feel free to reach out and we'll be back soon with another session. Until then, see you next time. Thank you, Neha, and thank you, everyone.